Seller-led maintenance report. So I got this a while ago from somebody that I consider to be super important. And they was, I was like, oh, he was pissed. So when he sent it to me, I didn't know what it was. I'm like, oh shit, thanks. And then he kind of said something about it. I was like, oh, this one of those. I'm gonna have to sit in the office with this. You know what I mean? To grab some tea and like really read through this thing. It's a lot. Here's 82 pages. If you know me, you know I ain't reading through 82 whole pages. But this is the seller-led maintenance report from the Government Accountability Office. Again, it's an 82-page report about actions needed to improve seller-led maintenance. And we are going to get into this a little bit. And I want to, it's a couple things I want to go over with y'all about this. So let me actually pull this up real quick. Because this is the world that we're in right now. Actually, this is the world Damon in. This is the world that I've, been in, stuff like that. So I'm going to go to the full report. Can y'all go to it real quick too?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So if we go to the full report, right? And if you're a listener, bear with us for a second as we kind of trying to make sure we get this information up and pulled up right. And if we go to page 19, I want to go to page 19. So let me know when y'all get to page 19 on the full report, but I'm going to talk for a second about it, right? And I'm going to read these first, and I'm going to get into what they consider to be some of the issues with seller-led maintenance and some of the fixes, and we could kind of talk through it. So on page 19, it says sellers require and assign for selected ship classes. So Nimitz class aircraft carriers, and this is all throughout the classes, right? It says 31,720. And right now we sitting at 25,787. So that's 19% fewer than required. Right. And this is as of November 2023. Ticonderoga class guided missile cruisers, 6,120 sellers. And we sitting at 3,860 sellers. So that's 37% fewer than required. WASP class amphib assault ships, 8,148 sellers, and we sitting at 6,494 sellers, 20% fewer than required, right? So then if you go to page 20, right, which I thought was kind of crazy because it's about the Bush, man. I was on the Bush on this day, October 25th, 2023. Right? It says, example of Navy aircraft carrier sellers mustering for a weekday in port. So they got the number required crew. I don't know why I'm saying required. So weird, right? It says 100% of sellers and ship manpower document, and then funded authorized 93% of sellers required, and then assigned 86% of sellers funded. So first you got required. That's 100% required. And then 93% of required is what's funded. And then 86% of what's funded is what's actually assigned. And then 83% of what's assigned is what's actually mustering, right? So it looked like they down, like it's 33% fewer than required from what's required to what's mustering, right? So that's the big deal there. The reason why we saying all of that is because a couple things that the GAO found, right? Navy faces several interrelated personnel and training challenges that inhibit sellers' ability to complete required ship maintenance. We talk about corrective maintenance and preventive maintenance, right? We talk about PMS and regular repairs. GAO found that the Navy does not fill all required positions and that sellers assigned to a ship are sometimes unavailable for duty. For example, temporarily assigned to another ship or may have inadequate training or preparation for their positions. The reason why this shit is so important, honestly, because like somebody could have walked the deck place and found this out. Like the GAO, that's pretty much what they talk to XOs and they survey like crew members. But this just been the way we've been living, bro. Like since the DDG, Damon. Like just shit we've been dealing with. You know what I mean? So it says cycle of challenges to seller-led maintenance. The Navy does not fill all required ship positions. Sellers assigned to a ship are sometimes unavailable for duty. Sellers may not be prepared for the positions they fill. Seller shortages hinder ability to complete required maintenance. Officers and sellers describe training for seller-led maintenance as inadequate. Navy guidelines for ship maintenance are sometimes inaccurate. I mean, and that's XOs saying that the training is inadequate, not just random people. That's like, executive officers on ship. So they gave us a couple recommendations for executive action. And that's what I kind of want us to talk through is these recommendations. So, and all of the recommendations were, agency affected was Department of the Navy, and the responsible person was the SECNAV, right? So it says, SECNAV should ensure that Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Personnel, Manpower, and Training updates Navy policy to require the Navy to periodically gather and report personnel data specific to sailor-led maintenance, such as comparing assigned personnel to the number of mustering personnel available for duty and tracking the quality of sailors' alignment across departments. So I was watching something that said like six available. Is like, it's hard for me to explain it, but it was saying like for every job or whatever that required 6 sailors, only 5 of them are available just in the state of the military as it is. Then it's like when you talk about TADs and other stuff like that, that number gets lower. So every sailor is either like overworked or pulling the work of at least one more, 6 out of 5 or whatever, something like that, right? So that was like one of the things. So like I said, so the first thing is comparing the number of assigned personnel to the number of mustering personnel available, right? Is that a thing for you, Damon, like that you've seen?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Whole David freaking career, man. I'm like,
right.
I don't want to give my percentage out, but that's I'm working on half right now.
Yeah.
Right? Half, man. Like it's crazy, man. Like all across the fleet. And this report is not like brand new to anybody that's been on a ship or anybody that's been in the Navy at all. And I'm saying it, and these XOs I commend because they're just telling the truth though. You know what I mean? And I know why it's being said and how it's being said is because they want us to do better. They want us to get this manning up. They go to different places. They go to different interviews. If you look at people interviews, you look at the COs, the XOs, they go to Tennessee, they go to all these manning meetings, they go all this stuff. And this is the conversation they always talking about. How can they get more manning for their command, for their ships or wherever they at? How can I get the people to fill certain positions and things like this? Everywhere. From the training commands that on shore duty to the ships out there. It's the same thing, man. Even on shore duty, ATGs, probably some of the worst manning we done seen.
Yeah.
Right? Ships, some of the worst manning we done seen. I'm not saying this because, my ship is like that. I'm saying this because we've been saying this shit for years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For years, we've been saying this. So it's nothing brand new. And I know we're going to always do what we got to do. But I'm here to tell you, it's getting to a point now that it's really starting to hurt us, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm saying this right here. This is what I'm going to say, and I'm going to get off my soapbox real quick on this, is that the expectation, and I'm going to give you an example. I was on the Nimitz for a little while before I got there now. And I was mustering 60 to 70 people. And now I'm not even mustering half of that right now. But you expect the same amount of maintenance to get done.
Yeah.
That's what a problem is right there. That's where, now think about it when you look at the big picture of this, right? And I'm going to say this, and I might regret it when I say it. But now we want to take these sailors to captain mast, right? Because they can't get the maintenance done, or they half-ass doing the maintenance, right? That's what we want to do. We want to do something like that. But hey, can we get this maintenance done? Like to be honest with you, man, we got 3,000 checks, right? 2,000 checks.
Yeah.
How is this going to get done the right way with this manpower?
Bro, that shit is discouraging. Now let's speak from, and we only on the first joint. Now let's speak from the deck plate eyes. That shit is discouraging. For your sailor. I was an EM for my whole career, up until now. I used to sit and talk to my sellers who wanted to get all the maintenance done. For a seller to look at a 13-week report, and this, you got 5 sellers in your division, whether you're on a carrier or in your work center on a carrier, you got about 3 to 5 sellers. And then in your division on a destroyer or some shit, you got like 5 sellers. And they got a 5-page 13-week report, bro. That is impossible to complete. You know what I mean? Then you got your XO up your ass about having a reason why checks can't get done. And some days, the reason is really that we didn't, where you like, yo, we can't say, like you got to not say that we just didn't have enough time or due to like operational commitments, right? That's what they never want to hear, due to operational commitments. Sometimes that's the truth. It don't take this study. Like just look at these what is it? Check notes. Just look at these check notes that we've hit people on because we don't want to see operational commitment. Sometimes it is operational commitment. It ain't enough time to do. It's the fucking 13-week report does not match the amount of hours that the seller should be working. And then when you add everything else, like PMS ain't the only thing that's you doing. You still got regular like corrective is, and then because one of my frustrations about that part of the job used to always be like, how the fuck am I going to motivate sellers to like complete this like impossible task? like a 13-week report for an EM is impossible, bro. For most maintenance weeks. It's impossible. Now, we got that super EM that's listening. Like, I've never had that problem. You a super EM, bro. You the greatest. You know what I mean? Like, you got it. You figured it out. But for most divisions, that shit ain't real. It's not realistic. You got to push checks. You're not able to do all this shit. You can't take power down. It's just so much happening right there. And like this report is saying, it ain't enough people. And that's just the first shit, Tish. That ain't even... It's 7 recommendations. That's just the first one. You know what I mean? But we all know this. And that's why people sending it to people and sharing it and frustrated because we know this already. Yeah. And it looked worse to the young sellers. That's looking at them 13-week reports. Like, how the fuck am I going to do all this? And you can't. Hey. My bad. I'm going to shut up, Damon. And you can, like, as the chief, you can't say, like, yo, I know it's impossible, bro. Like, you got to say something better than that, and help them through it and shit. That's it. That's all I'd say.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you know what? That one was what I was smiling about when you were saying that, man, is because you know how many times we have changed the way we do those check notes because we really didn't have the right answer to put in the check notes. And then we send something out and say, you cannot do it like this. You got to have either A, B, or C in the check notes. You cannot have this. Yeah. We just telling the truth.
Yeah.
Hey, that's all we was doing. We just telling the truth.
Yeah. Like
we
you're
cannot
delusional.
get these checks done.
Yeah.
We
like you're
cannot
delusional.
Get them done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think that it's not operational commitment, now we got to lie. Now we got to make up some shit.
Yeah.
That shit is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit the second one. It says the SecNav should ensure that Commander Navy Education and Training Command evaluates and optimizes the balance between classroom training and on-the-job training on maintenance skills for junior sellers as it implements ready, relevant learning. All right, so I'm going to see what Damon say about classroom training and on-the-job training, and then I'm going to probably tell the truth.
Okay.
So what's up with classroom training on maintenance?
Well,
what's that, Beck? What's that, Common Core?
Whatever they call it now. I mean, you might hey, look, I'm going to be honest with you guys about this training and all this stuff that they doing, man, is that you might well send these sailors to the fleet, man. Right?
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, like that's what we might as well do, man. And I'm just being real about it. Like, these sailors are getting to the ship and they still don't know what's going on. I can do a better job of teaching them on the OJT that's right there about everything that you maybe think you train them there. And I'm not trying to take nothing from A school. I'm not trying to take nothing from C school. I'm just telling you what I see.
You could do a better job. You got an active training program to do better OJT.
You damn right I do.
That's good.
Right?
That's good.
And it's called maintenance 10 motherfucking Warren. We gonna be down on them deck plates. And I'm saying that because you know what? I'm not gonna go that far, right? But I'm gonna tell you this: is that I feel like sometimes doing it helps people out a little bit more. Like we can go in the classrooms and you can pull this stuff up on the TVs and all your monitors you got in these schools. But I do think the OJT side of it is a big help. And maybe the classroom side is getting you mentally ready for when you get out there. You can now, I see it now, it's like an old light bulb moment. But guess what? A lot of times that old light bulb don't come on.
Yeah, it don't. Yeah, it ain't. Yeah.
Right? It's just not come. Yeah. So I guess it's a balance in between it. You know, so I'm not going to bash, A schools and C schools too much. But I'm here to tell you, I can only give you what I see.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you what I see.
I tell you this, a lot of times when it's like hands-on stuff, sometimes it's easier to just go into it with the OJT and then maybe do a refresher or something, or like something after that to kind of go over and like refine the skills that you've already developed. But trying to go into school sometimes for something that's so hands-on, they really just going through and just, memorizing everything and taking tests and stuff. And that's why they get in there and they can't demonstrate. They can't perform because they just been doing this shit on paper.
They can't perform because if you got to be in that classroom, I feel like it should be rate specific. You know what I mean? Like if you got some classroom stuff going on, you may be like to show you what paperwork and documents you need to turn in. You know what I mean? Things like that. But certain rates, like for Damo's rate, right? Like the rate he used to be. Electrician. I feel like that's damn near hands-on. You got to know what the hell you doing out there playing with that stuff, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like in the classroom, you can go over some things to make sure X, Y, and Z before you do something else. But a lot of that stuff is hands-on and knowing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, and that's one classroom. That's like the A school, C school classroom. You also got like when I got some ships they do like a 3MU. Some ships do a 3MU as well. So you got that. But, I'm thinking about OJT and I'm going to tell you, and I'm glad you have it. And I'm sure you do, Damon, because that's who you are. But not everybody doing valuable OJT either, because some people don't got time. Sometimes a seller getting man, I done spot checks with sellers and they pretty much told me, and I'm talking to some young sellers right now, man. I'm talking to y'all for like 1 week. Well, me and Damon kind of started out on our grumpy old bad shit, but like, hey, talking like, yo, we gotta stop handing over study guides to people. I remember when I was when I first got to my last ship, and somebody was going for the craftsman qual, open book test, man. And in my first class at the time, he said, yo, what do QA stand for? That was like the way the person was like, yo, I'm ready for the board. He's like, all right, you ready for the board? Okay, I got you. I'm gonna ask you a quick question. What do QA stand for? And the person was dumbfounded. Like, oh man, shit. He's like, nah, like I'm just asking what does QA stand for? That's what I'm asking. And the seller looked not only, and it's supposed to be a good seller, like the seller not only looked at dumbfounded, the seller looked angry that this person asked that question, And then we found out from the seller that they were given a study guide for the QA qual and told to study the study guide. And that was the questions that they was going to be asked on the board. Nothing outside of that, And this ain't the first time I heard that. And it wasn't the last time I heard that. Like we living and dying off these study guides. You know what I'm saying? And that's not, and the reason why I'm talking about that, because as whoever you are, first class, second class, you might be trusting that somebody giving somebody some OJT and they not. They giving them a fucking study guide, man, and telling them to make sure they know that they're going to be ready for the board.
Yeah. And Damo, you brought up, you said like, do I have the OJT program? Let me readdress that. right? My program is right now, what I do is twice a week, right? We doing training twice a week, right? Which is pretty good, right? With the amount of shit going on, you know how many times we actually get that training done twice a week?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I'm not lying to you. It's there. It's in place.
Yeah.
I want to do it. But that time come and go, man, so freaking quickly, man. And you be like, man, we didn't do training today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't do this today. We didn't do that today. So, you know, yeah, I do have a program in place, but hey, I'm going to be honest with you. That shit ain't rolling like I thought it was going to roll. Like I wanted to roll anyway. So it's hard out there.
Yeah. And for like Chiefs, because I was on a carrier, it got to get ugly. It got to get ugly. I think it's one of the topics or something you got to hold yourself to the fire, right? To hold people accountable. So you got to hold yourself to. So a lot of times when people think they've been held accountable, they think it's just you holding them accountable, but it's really you holding yourself accountable to hold them accountable, right? And when you're in a leadership position. So I remember when I was like, hey, this training shit, like on my carrier, when I was on it, I'm like, yo, we ain't getting it right. Like we still missing days. Yeah. We push every chance we get is more important shit to do than training. Like every chance is something to fix. This whole division, this whole work center couldn't come down. All this shit. I remember like on my way out, it seemed like on my way out, we just got like some real good rhythm with training. What I did differently that I didn't do on a carrier was when I was on the DDG, I gave a training. So I kind of set the standard. I gave a couple trainers on the DDG, so I set the standard and let them know the expectation. I didn't do that on the carrier. I was working my way into doing it, but y'all know, with like just life wasn't working. Like the baby, there's a bunch of shit. But I was working my way into doing it. But I had the seller like recreate a whole controller and add faults and do shit. So like it got really cool, and we got to take pride. But then again, that's like one seller, you know, a couple sellers. Like it's few and far between. But that training shit. Like you just said, Damon, it ain't really a lot of people don't got time to just sit down for an hour and just train. Like it's just like that don't even feel right on the ship. It don't feel right to do it. like it don't feel right. You know what I mean? Like it feel like you still in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it's at an inconvenient time. It's at nobody really. You could just tell like, yo, this shit. You know, I mean, and that's my thoughts. And I know a lot of sellers hold that same sentiment.
No doubt.
You know, and then when you talk about on the deck plates with it, come on. You leave that alone.
Yeah.
You leave that deck plate shit alone, bro. Walk up on one of your sellers that's doing maintenance that ain't never do maintenance before, or do a spot check on them. And do the spot check right. And tell me what you saw. Do that spot check the right way and tell me what you saw. All right. SecNav should ensure the policy is updated to include commanding officers as key stakeholders and updating maintenance cards to better reflect actual time expended and accomplishing seller-led maintenance tasks in light of ship-specific conditions. That's a big one. That's a big one. Because if I could just talk about the carrier, right? So I'm going to give you, if that looks confusing, I'm going to talk about the carrier and how when we were in the yards, the process to get tags and hang tags added about an hour and a half to each maintenance item. The process alone, you know, having to be is only one area on the ship that's running tags. You got to stand in a line. You got to get your diagram from, I forgot the name of these people.
Somebody in the trailer.
Yeah, you got to go through all that. So the process is not 0.8, 0.9 or whatever. That ain't it's way more than that. So I think that's kind of what it's talking to, but then it's also talking about some other things too.
It says updating maintenance cards to better reflect actual time expended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, like it says
they saying the MRC's fucked up because the next one is the same.
Yeah.
We could go to the next one and kind of tie them in. It says MRC and maintenance cards are written at SecNav in collaboration with Naval Sea Systems Command should ensure that maintenance cards are written at an appropriate level of detail to reflect specific conditions affecting the amount of time, number of personnel needed, and training necessary to conduct seller-led maintenance. I'm going to shut up, but it's been times where somebody is doing, like we say that anybody should be able to pick. I thought the thought process was anybody should be able to pick up an MRC and get it done. It's times where somebody read an MRC and got mad questions and you look at them like they don't know what the hell they doing because they got questions about the MRC. That I was normally trained to anybody should be able to pick one up and get it done.
Yeah. And, and also, even if you freaking, how many times those feedback reports go out and you say they correct the things you need to correct? Some of those guys, and I'm not shooting shots, but some of them guys over there that's correcting these MRCs and them feedback reports probably ain't been on a ship in like 10 years, man.
Bro, remember that feedback report that was 5 years? That wasn't good. Remember I was talking about it at my command?
Yeah.
I left with that feedback report not fixed. And I thought I went to the highest level I could. I'm like, yo, we got it. Like, never got fixed still.
Yeah. I'm not shooting shots, but I am shooting shots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, never got fixed. Yeah,
it's crazy, man.
It says the SecNav should direct Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Fleet Readiness and Logistics in collaboration with Naval Supply Systems Command and Naval Sea Systems Command to ensure that shipboard allowance lists are updated and accurate. Come on. Come on.
What?
Come on. It took GAO to figure that out. You know what I mean? Like, hit the deck plates, man. And we saying hit the deck plates, but this just a shit things that's just been a way of life for us so long that we stopped talking about it. We stopped talking about how we still haven't added these light bulbs to the APL, but we've been open purchasing them now for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Like, we just stopped talking about it. We just open purchasing them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Or when you get some of the equipment that you get it and it's already expired.
Yeah. Or the company.
You know what I mean?
Or the company moved, shut down. The only real place this part is at is on eBay. But you can't buy it off of eBay. So they got to try to remake the part. They don't make the part. They modified the part. The way they modified the part, it don't work with your system. So now you got to modify the new part, or you got to jack pieces from the old part that's already broken to make the new part work. It's so much bullshit.
Oh, shit. That's what's happening, though.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, all we doing? So what we doing right now for the listeners, we reading something off a report that GAO found, and we giving our personal experience with what we've seen with that shit. And the last one is SecNav should ensure that the Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Fleet Readiness and Logistics, in collaboration with Naval Sea Systems Command and Navy Supply Systems Command, clarifies guidance to specify how and when program officers must use readiness-based sparring. Yeah, I'm going to leave that one alone. Yeah. And then...
there's one more.
So this one, right? This is like IT stuff. I think the same people, in conjunction with Program Executive Office, Manpower, Logistics, and Business Solution, establish a mechanism for management to periodically communicate quality information through the Navy to ensure stakeholders fully understand the purpose of NMR program and its applicability to that organization's successfully endless use. I ain't getting this one. Some stuff is just too much words. But one of the last things they were talking about, one of the last things they were talking about was like our IT systems and how for like to complete maintenance, we got like 6 different IT systems that don't talk to each other. Right. And I guess, and I guess the Navy said, told GAO that we are looking into making a single IT system for maintenance. So I guess that's coming eventually.
For the last 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's coming, man.
Yeah.
It's
most
coming.
definitely.
So, yeah, it's coming.